So, if you had a magical ability, what would be the most useless one you could think of? I'm gonna say heart.
Suck my big fat fucking heart!
With that said, this short story is rather interesting because you have to reread the story to understand the twist at the end. At first, the old man's ability seems to be rather useless, until you realize that the wham line is not at the end of the story like most creepypastas. The story is short and simple, but that's all it needed to be to have such a hilariously dark twist. I live in Osaka, Japan, and often use the subway to go to work in the morning. One day, when I was waiting for the train, I noticed a homeless man standing in the corner of the subway station, muttering to himself as people passed by. He was holding out a cub and seemed to be begging for spare change. A fat woman passed by the homeless man, and I distinctly heard him say, "Pig." Wow, I thought to myself. This homeless man's insulting people, and he still expects them to give him money? Then a tall businessman went by, and the homeless guy muttered, "Human." Human? Well, I can't argue with that. I mean, obviously he was human. The next day, I arrived early at the subway station and had some time to kill, so I decided to stand close to the homeless man and listen to his strange mutterings. A thin, haggard-looking man passed in front of him, and I heard the homeless guy mutter, "Cow." Cow? I thought. The man was so skinny to be a cow. He looked more like a turkey or a chicken to me. A minute or so later, a fat man went by, and the homeless man said, "Potato." Potato? I was under the impression that he called all fat people pig. That day at work, I couldn't stop thinking about the homeless man and his puzzling behavior. I kept trying to find some logic or pattern in what he was muttering. Perhaps he was some kind of psychic ability, I thought. Maybe he knows what these people were in a previous life. In Japan, many people believe in reincarnation. I observed the homeless man many times and began to think my theory was right. I often heard him call people things like rabbit, or onion, or sheep, or tomato. One day, curiosity got the better of me, and I decided to ask him what was going on. As I walked up to him, he looked at me and said, "Bread." I tossed some money into his cup and asked him if he had some kind of psychic ability. The homeless man smiled and said, "Yes, indeed. I do have a psychic ability. It is an ability I obtained years ago, but it is not what you might expect. I can't tell the future or read minds or anything like that." Then what is your ability? I asked eagerly. "The ability is merely to know the last thing somebody ate," he said. I laughed because I realized he was right. He said bread. The last thing I had eaten for breakfast that day was toast. I walked away shaking my head. Of all the psychic abilities someone could have, that one must be the most useless.